You mentioned 2016 many times, and I want to highlight this for our audience. Something very significant happened, which is like basically the man who quote unquote pacified Tibet was basically shifted to Xinjiang to ostensibly to do the same.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, that's a very significant change.
Absolutely. Some policy analysts, some historians find similarities between this person, Chen Quanguo, and Adolf Eichmann because of his effort to exceed the expectation of his superior, which is Xi Jinping in this case. Chen Quanguo he has a military background. His private life is very secretive, even to this day. He did an amazing job, quote unquote, on behalf of CCP in Tibet. During his tenure, we saw a significant number of Tibetans, Tibetan self-immolation. We know now that he was the one who installed all the surveillance apparatus during his tenure in Tibet. And because of his effort and quote-unquote success in squelching Tibetan resentment, he got promoted in August 2016. When he was moved to Urumqi from Lhasa, he brought his own security detail, as reported in the New Yorker piece last year. Not only that, he set up a command center in a government hotel in Urumqi. It sounds like, it just gives you an image of a science fiction, that there's this massive surveillance apparatus, cameras, screens all around you, and you sit there. Instead of being a political leader for the Communist Party, you're essentially managing the largest prison system that the world has not seen since the Holocaust, the massive surveillance apparatus that the modern era no country has seen, and also the immense political power that he was bestowed by Xi Jinping to do whatever. I mean, leaked documents shows that Xi Jinping essentially said, show no mercy. That is a policy pronouncement. And then the Chen Quanguo goes around and tells his officials, round up, everyone should be rounded up. Unlike the United States, other liberal democracies, there's no policy debate in China. If a supreme leader or his henchman or supporter says a few words, that becomes a policy. So Chen Quanguo was sanctioned under the Global Magnitsky Act, and recently he's been promoted. People think that he is removed, but it doesn't work like that in China. Chinese never ever punish their political individuals or party officials who serve the interest of party. Even to this day, they don't even condemn Li Peng, who was the one who ordered the massacre in Tiananmen Square. So there are a lot of naivete, a lot of misunderstanding in the Western societies when they talk about China. So this person rightfully been sanctioned. I've been advocating this. His network should be looked into for potential targeted sanction, because no perpetrator, no bad actor, no brutal regime or entities, individuals should be allowed to remain anonymous. They should be subject to public naming, shaming.
We live in an era of censorship and disinformation, and it can be really hard to know what's true and what's false in this information climate. To get honest information and insights you can trust, join us on Epoch TV. You can sign up for your 14-day free trial at ept.ms/freetrialjan. That's ept.ms/freetrialjan.
I'm just going to read something. I pulled a quote from the book about, what things kind of look like in this system that you were just describing. So this is what you wrote. You wrote, whenever Zumrat met someone she trusted in the streets, there was a little ritual each person would go through before exchanging tidbits of gossip. First, they would roll their eyes up or to the left or right to indicate where the nearest surveillance camera was mounted, and then talk briefly, scratching their noses or mouths so that the words could not be deciphered by lip reading. As in other totalitarian states, paranoia became the watchword for survival, only more so because China could use its cutting-edge artificial intelligence and high-tech monitoring to peer into the most private recesses of people's lives.
So this is very riveting. One piece of the story that I've been heard from many people who are either directly or indirectly affected by it. The daily fear, we're rightfully focused on those rounded up in the camp, but we forgot what is the life for the people outside of the camp as described by Zumrat. Cameras are ubiquitous. They have mobile police cars. They can stop you, check your mobile device for problematic content. That includes an aqueous picture or text message or call history.
And you have to check in, and you get your phone scanned.
Absolutely. I got involved in a 2-hour-long documentary produced by Frontline. In the beginning of that show, a world-known AI expert, Mr. Lee, said that China is a new Saudi Arabia for personal data today. That shows what they did to reach to this point. So nothing you do in a society can escape the eyes of the surveillance apparatus. So Zumrat's narrative, or the environment that she described to me, is very common. Look, can you imagine that you live in a society that everywhere you go, you're literally under the camera. Not only the camera is pointing at you, but the mobile device that you're carrying is essentially a tracking device and listening device. And also, can you imagine that you go through various checkpoints every day, subjecting yourself to a daily humiliation simply because you happen to be Uyghur? Simply you have a different lifestyle. Simply you follow different religions. Simply you follow different tradition. And the others waving their hand when they go through the checkpoints. It's a daily fear. The State Department official Dan Nidell said that the China has created an open-air prison for the Uyghur people. I think that's an accurate description. This was said during the press conference on the occasion of the annual Religious Freedom Report release. So the stories that Zumrat and others described to me are very common. In some instance, I was told that individuals go to their relatives' apartment complex, could not get in because their facial recognition or their personal information were not previously vetted and stored. So it's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. This makes me very worried about the future. I am somewhat disturbed that the international community, policymakers, are not paying enough attention to this. This is not a political issue. This is about future. This is just becoming new normal. The surveillance, that pervasiveness that Zumrat was telling me during those interviews is metastasizing. China has exported the same surveillance techniques to over 80 countries about a year and a half ago. I'm sure that the number is much more significant today. So that should concern those of us who live in free societies, those of us who care about freedom, those of us who care about our privacy, those of us who care about future of the health of democracy.